Hello everyone. I wanted to kind of briefly show you the basic functionality of the course Wiki site. So for this semester, I'm making this video in the fall 2013 semester, but it'll apply to any other term where we're using the Google Sites Wiki to create Wikipedia style entries for environments or environmental concerns unique to Latin America. So to access this site, you go to the URL that I've linked in Blackboard. It will probably be something like sites.google.com/site/envi426, and then probably the term name and year followed by my last name, Aldrich. You'll sign in with your Google sign-in information. This isn't your ISU sign-in information. We're not using the Blackboard Wiki function because it doesn't actually support simultaneous editing. So as you can imagine, that would be a bit of a problem given that there are a number of you in class who could potentially sign into the class Wiki at the same time to make edits. So the idea here is that we use a little bit more of a robust tool that can handle multiple users. Once you log in, you'll see something that looks a little like this. In this case, we are set up for the fall 2013 Wiki. Our first assignment is actually covering the Pampas of Argentina and Uruguay. So I wanted to show you kind of the site. Some of you have already experienced this a little bit because I asked you to make a post in the updates area here, kind of listing some problem that you have a concern about. And only two students in this case actually posted, Savannah and Rex, and both of you, I'm hoping that this video and a couple more advanced videos that I'm going to produce going forward here will kind of help you out. I know it's a new interface for most of you, or maybe all of you, so moving around and editing pages might be a little bit different, but we'll work together and you'll be able to do that. So for your assignment, remember these assignments are to put together a Wikipedia type entry that will eventually roll out to Wikipedia once it's complete. And so this is a three-part assignment. In fact, when we look at the teams, the tasks, and the schedule, which is one of these pages, we have three teams: a writing team, an editing team, and a fact-checking team, followed by public rollout, which I'll help with. And then if any of you who might want to, I'll solicit volunteers, though you don't have to. What we'll do is I'll sort this team description due date in ascending order of due date. So the writing team starts off first. And to figure out who the team members are, you'll go to this Teams, Tasks, and Schedule tab here and find out which team member you're part of. Now that doesn't mean that you can't be, if you're in the editing team you can't write, or if you're in the writing team you can't edit, or fact check, etc. It's just that your primary responsibility, and hence what you'll earn for the grade, because remember, I can see everything that everybody does, and I can evaluate the contributions of each team member that way. Your primary responsibility is going to be writing if you're in the writing team, and editing in the editing team, etc. So the first part is the writing team, and as I said, you can figure out what team you're in by going to the Blackboard site in the folder for the week that we're in, or you can check out this site, which will be updated to reflect team members. For instance, we have 2 assignments this term that use this tool. That'll be updated to reflect your new membership in the second assignment. So anyway, the writing team will collaboratively assemble and complete a fact-based narrative exploration of the environment, right? In this case, the Pampas of Argentina and Uruguay. And you're going to have citations and everything else in there. And basically, you get 2 weeks to do that. It's due October 1st of 2013. The editing team will come along after that, and they have a week to clean up any formatting, writing issues, citation issues, anything kind of related to the quality of the product. And then the fact-checking team is going to go and evaluate the sources used and offer better sources if required. and then hopefully by the 22nd of October we can actually post our updates to Wikipedia. So that's kind of the way this is going to all work out. How do you actually go about doing this? Well, I've offered a few pieces of information here in the Files tab, a number of PDFs that could help get you going on a variety of topics. One of those even includes some maps, which are in this PDF. If you click on these, it'll open up a Google Drive viewer, and you're able to kind of scroll around and look at the contents of those PDFs, or you can download them here as well. If you have a file that you would like to add, or perhaps a link that you would like to add, you can always do that here. And the cool thing about this is if you put it here, we can actually reference it in our wiki. Okay? Now that's not going to work for the public rollout part of this. For instance, this DeMaria et al. Article is actually a peer-reviewed journal article. Well, we can't offer a peer-reviewed journal article online because it would violate intellectual property law. In fact, it's a little shady that I've put them here, but we'll ignore that for right now. What do we do? Well, what we'll do is we'll find the actual source, okay? Find that on the web, and then link to the source site. In this case, it might take a little searching, right? But we'll be able to do that. Okay, so here's some sources. I would recommend looking at some of these. Some tips on how all that would work. Let's say that this article here, Sustainable Intensification of Agriculture in the Argentinian Pampas, gives you some interesting information that's useful, like mean annual rainfall, right? Well, what is Hall? Hall et al. 1992? That is a source in the article, which you can find in the references list. Hall 1992. Let's see, here it is. Field crop systems of the Pampas. In Pearson, Ecosystems of the World, field crop ecosystems. So this is in a book. Well, it's a chapter in a book, and we can see if the ISU library has an electronic copy of that. If not, we could even request an interlibrary loan electronic copy of that chapter. More on that later. I'll be posting some tutorial videos in the near future in a folder in the weekly material area called library information. Some tutorials to help you use the library even at a distance, right? But I encourage you to not ignore the references section here, which may lead to nice supporting information for some of the claims that we'll be making in our entries for the article, right? Okay, so that's the files. I've already been to the wiki overview. We've already checked out teams, tasks, and schedules. If you had an update for the team, like, hey, I found this really great source, you could actually make a new post here in the updates area and say, and kind of fill us all in. For instance, I'll say Dr. A has posted a navigation tips and navigation tips video to YouTube. Check it out. And then I can put the URL here once it's uploaded. The other thing I can do, and notice I've done that, and all of a sudden up here popped draft saved at 6:11 a.m. It's actually not 6:11 a.m. It must be that we're set on Pacific time right now because it's 9:11 a.m. But at any rate, you can see that. Now, I've written this, and if you notice, I don't have like a save button here. It's up here, and that's a little bit weird. If I click save, it'll add the update, or I could save draft, in which case I'm the only one who can see or edit this for the time being. So if you notice, if we go to updates here, the draft is not showing up, right? However, I have a draft post here that I can click on, and then if I click save, it is actually published to all of you. Now, this isn't publicly available to everyone, just to those in the class, right? I can actually edit this by clicking on it, save my edits, etc. Not too hard. So if you find something really cool and you want to call people's attention to it, you can add an update in the Updates tab. Now for the big piece of information, the most important thing: how do we actually work on this site together? Well, here's the Pampas tab, and this is where most of your editing is going to be. And I've actually set up a set of headings. The headings are in bold, large letters, and subheadings are these bold, smaller letters. And then anywhere it says text, notes go here, traditional citations go here, or external links go here, this is where you're going to be filling in information. Okay, how do I actually do this? Can I click around? No, I can't. In order to start editing, I have to click the Edit Page button. Next to it is a New Page button. You can ignore this for now because we'll not be creating new pages for this. We're going to do all our work in this Edit Page button. Click Edit Page, and I am able to edit the text. I can do all kinds of formatting changes up here. I can, for example, set this to be highlighted in blue, which makes it impossible to read, right? I can set it to be not highlighted, but I can set the color of the text to be different, to stand out, which I'll do just to remind you to leave this paragraph alone because it describes kind of what we're doing. In terms of these items, these actually come from a rather well-formatted Wikipedia article that I kind of stole the format from so that we can kind of better fit this into the Wikipedia entry model. The setting here would just be a brief overview of the environment, of the region, climate and weather, somewhat self-explanatory, flora, which is going to be the vegetation that you find, kind of, we're going to have to find out more about that, right? Types of animals that live there. How long people have been occupying this region, and kind of in what density. Has there been a lot of people? Is it sparsely populated? Its land uses and natural resources. Its environmental threats, including protected areas, some related topics, and then references, including notes like footnotes and a bibliography. And then if you find any neat websites that could be useful to someone who might be interested in the Pampas, the external links to those sites would go down here. There are other tools besides kind of the traditional editor tools here. Please don't mess with the font size or the font type. We'll leave those standard. You can make use of the other formatting options, including bullets, indented paragraphs, etc. We can insert tables here. They can be a bit of a pain to deal with, but it's possible to do. Please don't mess with the layout because a single column, one column layout is going to work best for us. This is where you would add a heading, subheading, other types of text like subscripts or superscripts, block quotes, and then you can also insert images. Now if we want to insert an image, let's say that I want to upload an image, I could do that. It turns out that I have some images that I could upload, perhaps none that are really going to be very useful for this assignment, but let's say that I wanted to insert this image. I would upload it here. So I just click Choose File, found an image. I might put in optional text. And click OK. And there is my image. Now notice it inserted it exactly where my cursor was. And if I want to change this, I can actually mess around with it by cleaning on it. I can swap it out or even remove it. Right? Should go away. There we go. I can insert other things like horizontal lines or dividing lines, even gadgets, which I wouldn't mess around with too much. These include things like calendars, share buttons, but these things aren't really applicable to us right now. In general, don't mess around with these insert items too much beyond images or links. The other ones are going to be distracting, more or less. We may find a use for charts which are linked to Google Documents. So if you find some tabular data, maybe from the World Bank would be a good example, or the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, we might delve into that. But if you find those data, make a post on the updates page and note. Make a note like, hey, I want to use these data. Let's work on that. Okay. When you're done making edits, you would click Save, and your edits get saved. Now, you might say, all right, I can't tell if I made those edits or you made those edits or someone else made those edits. Well, what we can do is actually look at if we click on this More button, we can look at the revision history of the page. And what it is it shows us past versions of the page, which we can actually look at. Doesn't seem to be too much of a difference. But version 1 of the page was blank, right? Version 2 of the page, there was some stuff here. And we can actually compare multiple versions. So if you want to see how the changes have come about since, say, version 2 and version 5, it'll actually show you underlined things are inserted and strike through things are deleted. Well, this is just for your kind of gratification. I don't necessarily think you're going to be looking at revision history, but if you want to see who did what when, that's how you can kind of track it or at least investigate. In terms of the strategy here, just dig in. It's not like one student has to do the human occupation section and the other has to do the vegetation section. Pick a topic that you think sounds interesting and then go for it. Don't be worried about deleting things, because we can also always revert back to something that went away, and realize that a change that was made maybe to something that you contributed might have been done by somebody in the class because they thought it fit better in a different section or flowed better if they deleted one sentence and moved another one around. And don't be afraid to do that. This is a collaborative paper that we're working on. So some of us will have strengths in one area versus another. So please, if you have any issues with this, let me know and get to it.